Right. Shame is a tricky thing, and it can show up in so many shapes, ways, and forms. And I think that, for example, when you're chronically ill, it comes with a whole shame shit show. And at the same time, I think also it comes with a shame shit show in the sense of when I still went to the, as an example, when I still went to the conversational Portuguese classes, and our teacher, great teacher, would ask us, so how has your week been? What have you been doing exciting? And I basically didn't have anything interesting to tell. Maybe I did a drawing. That was the most I managed, because most of the time I did feel overwhelmed, anxious, depressed, or or just with no energy, as a consequence of the chronic autoimmune blah 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 stuff me and so many other people are dealing with. Or another shaming situation for me can be nobody's fault, but it's kind of like bringing myself to go somewhere, have a good time, maybe going to it's a few months ago I went to a hiking event. I told myself, if I don't manage to walk both ways, I will get an Uber. And I did, because it was raining and I was completely soaked, and I was so done in afterwards that I happened to actually burn myself with my hot water bottle. Great. But I think that seeing what for other people is normal, and the activities, and that they just walk back, and that the fact that they're being soaked isn't an issue for them. It's feeling like the discrepancy between what my life is like and what other people's normal lives are like is just huge. And since our society puts so much value on being active, on being productive, on being a functioning member of society, I think those things so easily can get to someone who, for whatever reasons, is not able to be part of that. And so I think it's a very, shame obviously is one of, from my point of view, one of the most painful emotions, alongside with grief, I guess. And to unpack that, and to get clear again that, that it is like this warped values as well, that we ascribe so much values to being busy, for example, and that we completely forget. I just was listening to John O'Donoghue, whom I really still love, and I wish there would be more people like him, and Thomas More, who wrote The Dark Night of the Soul. I wish there would be more people like that really have wisdom to share, versus all the so-called experts that are just telling you how to fix yourself, and making money on the assumption that there's something wrong with you in the first place. Maybe this is very generalized, and I'm sure there are some lovely experts out there. But John O'Donoghue was talking about illness, and that it was in a chapter, absence of life, and that those people somehow are, thrown into the absence, or dealing with the absence, which is very true, and that they kind of do the because we are thrown into this, do the deep work that the rest can't do, but the rest of society is also benefiting from that. And I really like that view, you know, like independently of whether you manage to, you know, to go into remission with those things. Independent of this, there is maybe a very weird hidden gift, because it in my case, for example, it comes with a lot of isolation and loneliness, and so I'm confronted with things other people aren't, and maybe there is a gift of wisdom that people like me find, you know, that alongside with all those challenges. And so I think us people might be very hidden, but shouldn't be dismissed. And we shouldn't dismiss ourselves, because I do think that we have something very valuable to offer. Wisdom, as I've said before. And another thing is, which is also interesting to bring it back to the shame, is that what I see in many people that are dealing with chronic, not all of them, I'm sure, but I see patterns that a few of us have really internalized shame, you know, due to either that we've been bullied or plain emotional abuse by other people, and that we kind of carrying shame that isn't really ours to carry. And that is maybe one of the deep healing work, is to find the courage to walk into this shame pit, so to speak, and to see where it wasn't us, where someone really treated us very, very unfairly, and we had been scapegoated, and realizing it was not us, like Dr. Ramani, for example, whom I love to bits and pieces in her book, It's Not You. That's it. This realization, it's not you, it's not me, and that that it was the other person who had been doing something wrong and then blaming us for it, you know. And so I think that shame that isn't really ours, that we are carrying around, is very hard to really detect, because we have to face and maybe even feel it again, and walk through that fire to be able to say, wait a minute, those people were doing something wrong, those bullies or whatever the situation was, it was not me, they were wrong. And I think that's such an important step to, you know, remove that shame that wasn't ours to carry, and to give it back to those people it belongs to. Yeah. So I guess that are my thoughts of the day. And do you feel you have some internalized shame you need to, you know, excavate, remove, and give back to those it belongs to? Okay, that's it. Your creative rebel, Anja. Take care.